Dominick Cruz and TJ Dillashaw seem to have put their differences behind them. The two fought in 2016, with Dom winning via split decision and taking TJ's bantamweight title in the process. Leading up to that bout, the fighters had a well-documented history of animosity.
He's just a talker, man. You know, he's just gonna try to overanalyze this because I don't need to.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
I think you're scared to talk because you don't want to say what you're gonna do because you're scared to eat your words.
All right, man. I'm done talking to you.
You can't be done talking to me. You're right here facing me, dummy.
Dom recently announced his retirement from MMA after withdrawing from a bout with Rob Font due to 2 shoulder dislocations within an 8-month span. He later revealed that TJ had reached out with a recommendation for a specialist doctor. TJ's MMA career was also cut short due to persistent shoulder issues.
Unfortunately, I can't even do this.
Really?
Holy it doesn't hurt, it just doesn't work.
Just stuck.
In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Dom said, "I've gotten a few notes from some big names. One of the ones that stood out to me was TJ Dillashaw. He actually reached out to me. I was shocked. He gave me a recommendation for a shoulder doctor and said he was looking forward to watching me compete and was sorry that I couldn't." Alex Pereira is confident that the UFC will support the idea of booking a boxing match between him and heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk. Recently, Usyk called for Pereira to be his retirement fight. Speaking to TNT Sports, he said first is who wins the next fight on February 22nd. Next, maybe a show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe. Why not? Alex wants to. Alex will be defending his UFC light heavyweight title against Magomed Ankalaev next month at UFC 313. In response to Usyk's comments, he said, "I've said that before, that I would really like to do a boxing match, and was asked against who. I said it would have to be against a champion, and he's the champion, and now he's given an interview and mentioned my name. That's something I want, and he also wants it. And both organizations, boxing and the UFC, are working kind of together now, so I believe this fight can happen." Fight announcements. Miesha Tate has been booked to face Yana Santos at UFC Fight Night on May 3rd. Miesha last fought in late 2023, scoring a submission victory over Julia Avila. Yana is coming off a unanimous decision win over Chelsea Chandler this past August, which snapped her 3-fight losing streak. The GFL has booked the trilogy between Uriah Faber and Renan Barão. However, the date is to be determined. Barão has defeated Faber twice, once via unanimous decision back in 2012. He then TKO'd Faber in the first round in 2014. Barão has not won a fight since 2016 and is currently riding a 6-fight losing streak. Faber's last fight was against Petr Yan at UFC 245 back in 2019, where he lost via knockout in the 3rd round. Joaquin Buckley has issued a warning to Belal Muhammad about the potential dangers of moving up to middleweight. Recently, Belal mentioned that he was considering a move to middleweight and claimed that he could easily defeat both Dricus Du Plessis and Sean Strickland. However, Buckley strongly disagrees. Buckley, who recently moved back down to welterweight after back-to-back losses to Nasruddin Imavov and Chris Curtis, is currently on a 6-fight winning streak since the move. He cautions Belal to reconsider his statement, emphasizing that middleweights hit significantly harder, and he doesn't believe Belal has the ability to take Dricus down. Be sure to go check out Buckley's YouTube channel, links in the description.
You see Belal Muhammad talking about he wants to move up. He could be double champ. Belal, I'ma just warn you right now. You don't have the tools nor the weapons to beat a person like Dricus. You're not gonna be able to take Buddy down. I'm just being honest with you, bro. Nor will you be able to knock him out with them pillow hands. And no matter how much you think that I can see all the holes in this game, even if you beating up Dricus, like I said before, he's just gonna keep coming and coming and coming, and he ain't gonna stop. No, did You're gonna always have that constant pursuit after you. And if you don't have things that's going to hinder him or pretty much slow him down or stop him in his tracks, he gonna beat you. And he gonna beat you in a way where you ain't never been beat before. When you were 170 fighter, if you moving up in a different weight class, bro, I'm telling you, bro, they hit a little bit different up there, bro. Trust me, I know. That's why my went down to 170, I swear to God.
Dan Hooker explains why he doesn't judge Justin Gaethje based on his recent knockout loss to Max Holloway. Hooker, who is set to face Gaethje at UFC 313 next month, believes that Gaethje's broken nose early in the fight, combined with the eye pokes in the later rounds, played a significant role in his loss. He adds that if Gaethje and Holloway fought 10 times, they'd each walk away with 5 wins, emphasizing how close and competitive that matchup is.
Oh, you have to account for the best version. That's the only way that you can approach it. I feel like going back and watching that fight, I feel like it was a bit of a banana peel. I feel like he was doing. It was a very competitive fight. I think maybe even Justin was getting the better of it till spinning back kick lands on his nose. Like you throw that bloody thing 1,000 times, it doesn't land square on the nose, and send your left. Like, and you know what it's like when you get your nose shattered in the first round. Like you can't breathe, you can't see. And then I think round 2, round 3, there was a couple of eye pokes. So now the copper can't breathe, he can't see. He's got Max Holloway standing in front of him. So it's like I don't take too much from that fight. Like even like stylistically or technically, I don't take too much of that fight. I think those two fight 10 times. I think Max wins 5, Gaethje wins 5. I think the what most people take away from that fight is that Max outclassed Gaethje, but I don't think it's that. I don't think that's from my opinion. Looking at that fight, I think it was just a bit of a banana peel fight, and that the gods of war did not. Yeah, it's not his. It just wasn't his night, and the finish is the finish, and it's like you can't take so many incredible moments in your favor for a decade, and then one goes the other way, and then you don't know what it is, or you can't accept it. You can't accept it for what it is.
Gregory Rodriguez has issued a statement following his TKO loss to Jared Cannonier over the weekend. RoboCop had high praise for Jared. However, he revealed he faced serious issues after cutting weight, which affected his body's ability to respond during the fight. He posted this to his Instagram. He wrote, "It's my birthday today, and even though it was a tough day at work, I'm grateful for everything God has done and continues to do in my life. Big thanks to the UFC team for the opportunity. I'm truly honored to have shared the octagon with the number 7 in the division. Cannonier is a highly experienced fighter who taught me a lot in this fight. I saw several details that can be improved. Things will be changed. Winning fight of the night was a gift for 2 warriors who weren't afraid to go to battle. Most people don't know this, but I had serious issues to recovery after my weight cut. My body just wasn't responding. I keep wondering how things would have played out if I had been at 100%. Chael Sonnen does not believe Alex Pereira will remain in the light heavyweight division for long. Pereira is currently in training camp, preparing to defend his title against Magomed Ankalaev next month. Chael believes that regardless of the outcome of that fight, Pereira will move up to the heavyweight division next. On his YouTube channel, Chael said if Pereira wins, he's going to be looking for something else to do, and if Pereira loses, he's gone. I feel like many of you have forgotten how Pereira got to 205 pounds. He did not get to 205 by cleaning out 185. He got to 205 by losing at 185. That's what opened the door. No belt, no vacate, a move right up. So no matter what happens after Ankalaev, things are going to be very different for Pereira. I predict he's moving up. And the ticking time bomb of John Jones and Tom Aspinall carrying this on and dragging this out. That time bomb reaches midnight as soon as Pereira is done with his piece of business with Ankalaev, win or lose. Stephen Thompson has absolutely zero interest in fighting in BKFC. On a recent appearance on the Overdogs podcast, Wonderboy reveals BKFC president David Feldman approached him at an event and asked him when his contract was up with the UFC. Wonderboy stated that he just doesn't think he could make the transition to bare knuckle fighting, especially because there's no kicks.
That's one thing that because bare knuckle came to Greenville, South Carolina, and I went to it, and I think the owner was like, "Yo, Wonderboy, when is your contract up with UFC?" I'm like, "Dude, don't even. I'm not Mike Perry, bro. I ain't got it. I ain't got it, dude. I don't think I could do the bare knuckle, bro. You guys, y'all are different animals."
But your legs, though, your legs are such a weapon.
Dang. I mean, if there was kicking, still, I don't even think I could do it if there was kicking, man. You guys, I mean, I don't know if have you broken your hands in bare knuckle yet?
You know, man, I haven't gotten them checked, but I'm pretty sure they were pretty bad. My first one, I've like I remember my left knuckle being really smushy after, and there was this really sharp nerve in there that was, I feel like I exploded my left knuckle, and I haven't had that issue again since. The owner told me after my first fight, he goes, you know, these guys squeeze their fists as hard as they can. So squeezing my fists have really helped with my connection on the punches, and You know, I feel like I got a broken pinky
because I see a lot of these guys, they kind of hit with their hand open like this.
No, that's not good, right? So you gotta
squeeze
that sucker, and when I really squeeze it, it like makes that rigid shape, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and use that, and I keep it real tight, and just everything's real short. Damn.
Khamzat Chimaev shared some sparring footage today. While the fight is not yet official, Khamzat is currently the front runner to challenge Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight title next. Nicksick has admitted that he made a mistake by publicly criticizing Sean Strickland after Strickland's loss to Dricus Du Plessis. Nicksick labeled the performance as uninspiring and suggested that Strickland reevaluate his commitment to MMA, expressing his desire to coach fighters focused on becoming world champions, rather than those in it primarily for the money. In response, Sean Strickland stated that Nicksick would no longer be cornering him in future fights. He also referred to Nicksick as an influencer for sharing his thoughts on a podcast instead of addressing the matter privately.
Because I like Eric. He's a friend of mine, and he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not. The only reason why I'm making this video is because Eric had to go do a podcast and become an influencer, so now I gotta kind of explain myself.
So Matt Brown recently weighed in on the situation, stating that he doesn't believe coaches should publicly criticize their fighters. Eric responded to Matt. He wrote, "I agree, Matt. Looking back at it, I made a mistake. My true intentions were to try and motivate him publicly, and that was a miscalculation on my part." Dricus Du Plessis has responded to Belal Muhammad's claims about moving up to middleweight and challenging him for the title, making it clear that he is not taking Belal seriously whatsoever. Dricus stated that the UFC doesn't even like Belal, and doubts they would even offer him a title shot at 185 to begin with. He thinks Belal is simply too small for the division, and says he would just step on his head if they fought. In an interview with Ariel Helwani today, Dricus said, "Belal Muhammad, I can't even remember the way he fights. Has he ever finished anyone? I like how he acts as if he has a choice to ever go up to 185. The UFC will never let him. If he wanted to, he'd have to abandon his belt, give up his belt, vacate, and go up to 185. And there's no way they would ever give him a direct title shot. There's no way. The UFC doesn't even like Belal Muhammad. He hasn't even defended his belt once. He's definitely better on Twitter than he is in fights. That would be unfair. If I fight Belal Muhammad, it would be unfair. Have you seen the size of the man? What is he going to do? Is he going to get somebody to help him? How is it going to work? He's the smallest. I couldn't even believe that he's at 170 when I saw him. I couldn't believe that he fights at 170. I step on his head and it's over. That's how the fight goes." Belal Muhammad immediately responded to this interview. On X, he wrote laughing, crying emojis. He said he can barely walk without tripping over his own feet. He ain't touching me. He followed up with a gif of Dricus getting taken down. He wrote, "This guy's gonna beat me," with a laughing, crying emoji. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to TJ Dillashaw saying that Anthony Smith gives up in a lot of his fights, questioning his nickname Lionheart, and Bobby Green defending Smith. The first one's from Tony Ramos. It says Anthony Smith's title run starts now. The second one says King Green being real with TJ in the most polite way possible. And the final one's from Nick Scott. It says Bobby has a really good point. Heart comes in many forms. At the end of the day, all of us hiding behind our computer screens can't even begin to fathom the that Anthony has been through in his career. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.